Hey friends, this is Emily with burlapkitchen.com, where I'm all about simplicity. So we're going to go ahead and remove axle from the work surface, step number one to all my projects. Now let me show you a few supplies we're going to be using: some chalk paint, some chalkboard paint, some chalk pens they're called, from Magnolia, a Magnolia stencil, this frame that I picked up at Walmart for $4, and a few other supplies. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to remove all the inserts. You don't need the cardboard inserts, you can go ahead and toss those, but I am going to need this glass insert. The first thing we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and wipe it off really good. We want to make sure it's nice and clean because we don't want any smudges or anything like that to come through to the front of the project. So I'm just going to make sure this is nice and clean before moving on. Now I'm going to take the chalkboard paint and I'm going to give this 3 coats of paint, making sure to dry in between each coat. Now I did have a few setbacks with this project. Originally this chalkboard paint side that I'm painting on is what I wanted to be the front, but when I went to use my markers it kind of dug the paint off of it, so we had to improvise a little bit and flip it over and use the shiny side. It still looks super cute and it's still going to be an awesome project. So I'm going to go ahead and add this 3rd coat of paint, and I did speed this up quite a bit so you didn't have to sit and watch me paint forever. And just make sure it's super dry before moving on. That looks pretty good to me. So now you see the shiny side, that's actually the side that we're going to have to work with. But because my original plan was to use the flat side, that's how I'll start this out, and then you'll eventually see me flip it. So now I am going to take this chalk paint. This is Holly Berry and it is Afraid Not paint line. Definitely head over to her page and check out what she has to offer. She has a lot of cute paints and craft kits. So I'm going to go ahead and give this actually I think I gave it 2 coats of paint, and I sped this up so you didn't have to sit and watch it. Make sure to dry in between each coat and make sure you get all around the rim of the frame, anywhere that's going to be visible. And if you want to, you could antique that. I decided to not do it, not antique this project. I really liked the color of this paint, so I decided just to leave it as is. So I just went ahead and inserted that, and you see how I have the flat side up. That's, like I said, the original side that I wanted to work with, but we had to improvise, so you'll see me later on here switch it. Now I'm going to take these picks that I got at Walmart. I want to say they were $1, maybe $1.98, and we're going to have to cut them, and they took a little bit of muscle to get that cut off. If you bend it back and forth, it eventually just snaps. So, like I said, you're going to need a little bit of muscle for that and bend it back and forth until it snaps. Now we're going to go ahead and place them on the frame how we want them. And I'm going to go ahead and make a real cute, super simple bow for this. I'm not the greatest at making bows, so if you're better at making bows than what I am, feel free to get super fancy with this part. I'm just going to take some twine here and tie a knot to secure my bow. And I'm going to trim that up. Now I'm going to take a little piece of my ribbon and sort of fold it up and put it around the bow. That way you don't see that twine, but I actually later in this project decided to hot glue a bell on there, so you're not going to see it. So this step isn't going to be necessary unless you use a different embellishment than what I used. So do you see how I just sort of folded that piece of ribbon in half and in half again, and then I'm just going to wrap it around my bow. That just sort of makes the middle part of the bow look finished. And I'm just going to hot glue it together. Now I'm going to take these picks that I laid in place and I'm going to hot glue them right in place, right where I want them. And I find it best if you hot glue right on the pick rather than the picture frame, because if you don't lay your pick exactly where you put the glue, then you'll have big globs of glue that will be visible. So I would just go ahead and glue right on the pick itself and then put it on the frame the way that you want it to sit. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hot glue my bow right in place where I want it. You'll have to fiddle around with it and fluff it up. I decided that I'm going to take these pine cones out because they just weren't working with my bow. but I'm not going to toss them. I'm going to save those for another project because pine cones are awesome embellishments. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the dovetails on this ribbon. And you do that just by folding in half and then cutting up at an angle. Just like that. And of course you're going to want to fluff it out and get it to look the way you want. Now I'm going to take my blow dryer just to get all the little pieces off from my pick. Okay, now I'm going to take this marker, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. So this is the Magnolia Chalk Pen, and I was just going to write a Christmas menu. There's so many cute things you could do with this, but when I went to write the line, what it did was it scuffed all my paint off, and I was afraid it would keep doing that. So I decided just to touch it up and use the other side of this glass. So we're going to work with the shiny side. I just wanted to show you guys that. That way if you did this, you decide to make this project, you can see what you're getting into with that. Because I really do like that flat side, but it is what it is. It's still a super cute project. So now I'm going to take this Magnolia Chalk Pen and I'm going to just write Joy to the World. You could write Christmas menu, anything you want. Now these markers, I do want to say, you do have to hold them in quite a bit before you start writing, just to let all that paint soak to the tip. So the first time I got mine, I thought they were dried out or something. No, you have to push it in for a little bit. And what I love about the Magnolia chalk paste and the chalk pens is that you can just wipe them off, and then next year when the new hottest stencils come out, you can just wipe that off and apply a new stencil. I just wanted to show you guys what both the marker and the stencil will look like on this project. You do, because we're working with glass, you want to make sure you fuzz your stencil really well before adding it, because it does really stick to the stencil, or to the glass, I mean. So I just put my paste on. You want to work quickly, and then I just pulled it off, and I am going to go ahead and give that a quick dry with the blow dryer. And it's still, even though we're using the shiny side, I still think this project looks super cute. This would be a great project to give someone as a gift, or to sit at a table for your menu, your Christmas menu, or something like that. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this project as much as I did. For more great ideas just like this one, please follow burlapkitchen.com. Thank you.